You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Tuesday, August 4th. I'm Maria Lisignoli.
And I'm Johnny Kahner. Thanks for watching and listening to Four Things to Know today.
Our top story is a wild one. An 18-year-old is fighting for their life after falling 20 stories from an abandoned Minneapolis building. It happened at the decommissioned checkerboard grain elevator off Hiawatha. Our Adam Duxter was there, where he spoke with neighbors like Vox Payne, who says they've been trying to sound the alarm on this space for years.
It's hard to put into words exactly how risky of a fall this was. As we do know, that 18-year-old in the hospital fighting for their life with life-threatening injuries. And today we've talked to multiple neighbors and people who work near here who say they were in the middle of trying to film a social media stunt hanging off of that metal beam you say there on the top of the building, all for social media clout, when they lost their grip and fell more than 20 stories to one of the platforms below. And this is not an isolated incident. We talked to neighbors here today who say it's been hundreds of phone calls to the police and 311. They've tried to contact their city council person about the countless young people who break into this building constantly. This is fortified fencing around here, but anywhere you go, you can see where people have cut through and found their way to wiggle through. Again, it's all for that urban explorer trend on social media. But the neighbors we talked to say they're concerned that this is not going to stop until someone does die. So it took Minneapolis Fire and one of their big ladder trucks to get up to where that teenager was laying to get them down and get them to some emergency medical care. But again, the big thing that the neighbors we talked to today are emphasizing is that they've been trying to sound the alarm on this building for really the last 3 years, ever since it's changed ownership. And they say this should just be the sign that enough is enough. Something has to happen.
Something terrible in the elevator happened. Yeah, it's an issue that we knew was going to happen. We've talked about it plenty with the city and with other neighbors and with the police, and we kept warning them something terrible is going to happen. We know something is. And sure enough, the first thing that we thought of when we heard those screams were the teenagers were up there. Something bad happened.
And again, Shayla, what that neighbor is emphasizing to me today is this isn't just one or two young people. Rather, it's been hundreds of people who have broken into this building over the course of the last 2 weeks. And they know that because it's all been documented on TikTok and social media. We have reached out to the person who owns this building. We have not gotten a response back from them. We've also put a note out to Minneapolis police asking about those hundreds of 911 calls. We are waiting to see if they will talk with us today.
Now to your second thing to know today, there's a little more than a week to go to the Minnesota primary, and new concerns over if the leading Republican candidate for governor has lived here long enough to run for office are taking shape. And we're talking about MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, and this new concern is coming directly from Minnesota GOP Chair Alex Plekish. Our Barrett Leone has an update from the campaign and the party.
In a letter obtained by WCCO, Alex Plekish is asking for emergency guidance from Secretary of State Steve Simon on what the residency requirement is for being eligible to serve as governor. The Lindell campaign believes the state residency requirement begins 1 year before taking office. The new governor will take office in January of 2027. However, in the letter from Chair Party Alex Plekish, it says the Minnesota Constitution says a governor must live in Minnesota for 1 year before the election, and that the GOP office has been getting questions from Republicans about Lindell's status. The primary is on August 11th. In recent legal documents quoted in the GOP chair's letter, Lindell has claimed to be a resident of Texas. The Republican Party is asking the Secretary of State for the exact citation and the correct and current constitutional provision governing the residency qualification for governor and lieutenant governor. The party also wants to know if the 1 year residency period in that provision is measured as of election day or as of the date the office holder takes office. We spoke with Mike Lindell last night, whose poll numbers have been rising since being endorsed by President Trump.
It's a lie. It's a hit job. He wants his darling Lisa Damon. That's who he wants, who they had handpicked by Alex.
All right. Mike, thousands of people have already voted. Can you assure them that your residency is meeting all the guidelines to be elected governor of Minnesota?
100%. That's why I sent in everything to, this has been gone over by our own GOP. This has been gone over by attorneys. I moved here and you got the pay stubs.
Lindell did send us pay stubs that he says shows he paid Minnesota state taxes in August of 2025. We've also reached out to the Secretary of State's office and have not heard back. These residency questions, it's just one concern for the Lindell campaign. A Democratic candidate filed a complaint against him claiming a pillow giveaway violates Minnesota campaign law.
Lindell is the GOP frontrunner heading into next week's primary. He's facing Minnesota House Speaker Lisignoli and Republican-endorsed Kendall Qualls at the polls on August 11th. Whoever wins will go against Democrat Senator Amy Klobuchar in November.
Number 3 is a story with a lot of buzz, or I guess a lack thereof. A lifeline for the THC beverage industry in Minnesota. U.S. senators are pushing for a delay to the federal ban set to go into effect this fall. Senators Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar are backing the 1-month delay, which is written into a version of a government funding bill up for a vote this week. Senator Klobuchar says the delay would give Congress more time to get a long-term fix. Most of what's available on store shelves in Minnesota has 5 milligrams of THC per serving, and drinks can have as much as 10 milligrams. The new federal law, set to go into effect in November, would place the limit at 0.4 milligrams. Local business owners like Jason Dayton with the Minneapolis Cider Company are fighting for a reversal in Washington.
This is the best situation that the hemp industry has been in for the last year, right? After the continuing resolution in 2025 was passed, that meant a ban was in federal law. And so, anything from there is progress.
It's far from a done deal. Senators are expected to vote on the funding bill later this week and will still need to find agreement with members of the House. And Johnny, this is something that a lot of people I know are pretty upset about.
Yeah, I bet. 0.4 milligrams is virtually nothing.
When you compare it to the 5 and 10 milligram drinks, I have a lot of friends who don't drink alcohol. And so going out to a bar and being able to have something to drink with friends is a social aspect of it, and they're pretty upset about that.
Absolutely, I bet. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and we know the THC drinks have really taken off too, like you said.
So much in Minnesota, as opposed or compared to our surrounding states, that don't have the law. So yeah, we'll wait to see what happens, but I know a lot of people are really looking into it.
And our fourth thing to know today, another story that we're continuing to follow. More overnight entry points will soon reopen in the Boundary Waters Canoe area wilderness. State officials actually held another update on those fires this afternoon.
This week's drought monitor is showing an increase in moderate and severe drought. Almost 35% of the state is now in severe drought. That includes northeast Minnesota, where we're at right now up in Ely. The daily fire danger can swing quickly, especially when we have the scattered and isolated thunderstorms. Just 3 to 5 days of dry weather in the areas that are dry and droughty is enough for fire activity to pick up.
In the Boundary Waters, you cannot have campfires or use any charcoal or wood burning stoves, but outside you can in those developed areas. And we definitely encourage folks to come up and visit the forest.
Those are the 4 things to know today. Let's check in now on our next weather forecast.
Hi, I'm next weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. Your forecast tonight dropping down to 60, very mild overnight. Open up the windows, enjoy some break in the air conditioning. Tomorrow, high temp coming back to 81 with partly cloudy skies.
And now, here's more to know.
This is big news for the city of Minneapolis. They're now searching for a new commissioner of public safety. Todd Barnett is stepping down by the end of the year. This comes after ongoing battles to get him confirmed with city council. Barnett oversees Minneapolis police, fire, emergency management, 911, and neighborhood safety departments. The former Hennepin County chief judge has served as the top public safety official since 2023. But the city council recently rejected his reappointment for a second term twice. Progressive council members blamed him for record budget shortfalls in the police and fire departments, and they questioned the effectiveness of his violence prevention efforts. Barnett says he will remain in the position through December to help ensure a smooth, transition while the city looks for a permanent replacement. And remember, the city is also looking for a new police chief.
We have new information about the empty prison in Appleton, Minnesota. Its owner, CoreCivic, says it has reached a 5-year deal with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE is going to use the private prison to house detainees. The Prairie Correctional Facility in Appleton has 1,600 beds. It has been closed since 2010.
A family still in mourning is using their grief to advocate for road safety and organ donation. The Lisignoli family's car was hit by a distracted driver last year while they were on their way to school, and during that crash, 11-year-old Lily was killed. Now, her older brother, a junior at West Tonka High School, is bringing his grief into a DECA project. That's a business competition for high schoolers. So he and his partners created a nonprofit called Live Like Lily. They've had 2 packed events, including a weekend pickleball tournament, and they plan to keep growing as they enter their idea in the state DECA competition. Here's more from senior Ella McLennan and Lily's older brother, Jackson.
We're continuing Lily's legacy by just bringing people together and bringing the same joy to them that it seemed that she brought to everyone around her.
It stands for Live Like Lily. So it kind of just reminds people who see it and people who kind of have a connection with it to bring joy like she did and kindness like she always did.
Proceeds from the project go towards organ donation research and road safety research. The next Live Like Lily event is a 5K. To support Lily's legacy, you can follow the team at live.like.lily on Instagram.
Edina police say they took 3 people into custody overnight in connection with theft from vehicles. Police were called to the 4200 block of Alden Drive around 2:45 a.m. Police say when they got there, several suspects ran away. So police set up a perimeter and were able to take 3 people into custody. That is the only information being released at this time right now. But Maria, this has been an ongoing problem. Car thefts, you know, you think about Minneapolis and surrounding suburbs. We've had so many stories like this over the past few months.
And we have heard of a lot of thefts and simply just break-ins, too. I know over in Edina and St. Louis Park a couple months ago, just windows smashed. And yeah, it seems to be an ongoing trend that is not good to see. Today was your last chance to make your voice heard before a large encampment is closed in St. Paul tomorrow. Today at noon, there was a special city council meeting to continue public hearing on the encampment plan. City government estimates that about 140 people live at the Pig's Eye encampment. Again, that is scheduled to be closed down tomorrow.
Let's get to sports. It was another busy trade deadline for the Minnesota Twins. It was yesterday, but remember last year they traded like everyone, like almost 40% of their roster.
That. Yeah, pretty much half the team. Okay, what was this year like?
A little bit different this year. They added another reliever yesterday. They're really trying to make the playoffs, so they're going to keep bringing people in. And they actually told fans before the deadline, Maria, no one really believed it, but they were going to buy and not sell. And they stuck to their word. And our Mike Max, he says the pressure comes from fans and also new investors who want to attract some more investors to the team.
Yeah, makes sense.
So they acquired their 4th veteran pitcher. His name is Jeff Hoffman, 6'5", 230 pounds. He was the closer in Toronto, but ironically, he was actually replaced by former Twin Louis Varland, who we traded to them last year because Hoffman struggled early this season. So the Twins, we gave up 3 prospects, including a Minnesota native named John Klein. But we think Hoffman can fill different roles, and GM Jeremy Zoll actually spoke about the addition.
He was going to be one of the top arms ultimately to move with his ability to, he has the experience of pitching in the back end of games. He's pitched in, a variety of different roles, but he's closed. He's pitched in, other forms of high leverage. So, that flexibility, I think, gives different options.
And this is a fun one. The Olympic torch could make a stop in Minneapolis in 2028. Yesterday, Jamison Whiting and the Minneapolis Enterprise and Labor Relations Committee approved Minneapolis as a host for the relay.
Authorizing an agreement with the LA 2028 Summer Olympics Organizing Committee to have Minneapolis as a host city for the 2028 Olympic Games Flame and Torch Relay.
And for the first time, the torch will actually pass through all 50 states. This will take place over 3 months, ending with the games opening in LA.
It's pretty cool that they're going to have all of the country kind of involved in this opening ceremony of the Olympics. I know everyone was so pumped this last month when the World Cup was here in the United States and Canada and Mexico, but it really did feel like the whole country was able to get involved.
Totally, and we just had the Special Olympics,
Yes.
over in Minneapolis
Yes.
as well. So that was fun following that torch around the state too.
That was really cool, following it from the north to the south, and now we'll follow it all over the country and potentially stopping right here in Minneapolis.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
The Zac Brown Band. You know them, Johnny?
Yeah, I've seen them in show.
Have you really?
Yes.
Where?
Kenny Chesney was here last year, so Zac Brown opened for them, but he's obviously really big too.
Yeah, he is,
He's
definitely.
great.
But oh my gosh, they've been around for a while, this band. They just celebrated their record 15th straight sold out show at Boston's Fenway Park. That's iconic, first of all.
Super
Fenway
cool.
Park.
Yeah.
But guess what? They are sending, they at the show, they sent every single fan on a cruise.
Don't dollar sign on a piece of mind, this I've come to know.
Margaritaville at Sea, just like the song says. That is the cruise that's sponsoring the band's current tour. And all 35,000 plus fans at Sunday's show received a free cruise for 2.
That is insane. And the reps for Brown, they tell USA Today it's the biggest audience gift in live entertainment history. It's valued at about $40 million.
What in the world?
That is unbelievable. I wish I was at the show.
I know, right?
It would have been worth it to fly out there. You know?
I mean, literally. Because, a cruise, while they are like a somewhat cheaper form of vacation, still not, it's still pricey. So to get a free cruise for 2, I've never heard of anything like that happening.
I know, that is bizarre. 15 straight shows. That's so cool. I will say, though, I'm a little out on cruises because I don't want to get an illness on that road. But, I think it's great. Are you a cruise gal?
I went on a cruise once when I was in, high school with my family. And I could see it for a family trip where it's you don't get off the boat unless you go on the excursions. But, everything is there. You don't have to do anything, leave anywhere, super easy.
The food's always good.
Food's usually good. Entertainment. And maybe as an adult, I should go on one and just check
it out.
Get to
the concert.
Yeah,
maybe he'll do this again.
I doubt it. Oh, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us here on 4 Things to Know. With Johnny Kahner, I'm Maria Lisignoli, and we're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Love podcasts? Love Minnesota?
Check out the WCCO podcast studio lineup.
Hear the top stories of the day with 4 Things to Know.
Discover top female athletes and teams from around the state on women in sports.
Dive into stories about faith and belief, from your local leaders to your neighbors next door, with Bigger Than Belief.
Stay in the know on the go with the WCCO podcast studio. Go to WCCO.com/podcasts.